Mr. Khumalo, you know, you're still going to be long, aren't you? No,
Yes. Yes.
Let me tell you what I was thinking. Well, everybody, potentially everybody, you are saying this particular witness has contradicted herself in some of the statements and in the evidence you gave in court.
Yes.
Why don't you read all the three statements? What do you think, Mr. Babi? Then, because then we are at idem with you. You read the three statements, and then you contrast them with whatever evidence in court she said, or you contrast them also amongst the very statements. Because Konamanje, we don't know where we are. Are you with me?
Yes.
You just extrapolated two paragraphs. Paragraph 5, you said this in Exhibit 1, you remember?
Yes.
And then you went to Exhibit 2 and said, you said this. But the whole complexion in this statement, we don't know how it is structured. I don't know, do it make sense?
Yes, you do. Yes.
What do you think, counsels?
I think my wife is prudent that way.
Mr. Nisi? Hello? And then, Ms. Michelle, does it make sense? Because, as I say, there are three statements.
Yes, my lord.
I don't have a copy of them. You guys have, because Mr. Baloyi has discovered them. Yes. All I hear is Mr. Khumalo saying, in this particular paragraph, in Exhibit P2, you say this. And
there's a contradiction.
Yeah.
It is correct, my lord.
Okay, Mr. Baloyi, what do you think?
That's in order, my lord. We can just mention that those statements have since been handed up as Exhibit P1 to P3, yes.
Yeah, but the statements must go on record. Are you with me?
Yes.
So that the record can show that Mr. Khumalo was referring to three statements which he was using interchangeably. Please.
That's in order, my lord.
Okay.
And talking of the statement, we've just replaced the previous copy of P3. It had some highlights with a clean one.
Fine.
I've told my colleagues about it. They don't have a problem.
Okay, so you, Mr. Baloyi, you can read the statements into the record. Like he was doing. Just to place that these three statements are the following. This one was done.
No, my lord. I think Mr. Khumalo should read them.
Do it, okay,
yes.
fine. The same must do it.
So that he can take us through
Fine.
where he wants us to go to.
Thanks. Is it okay, Mr. Khumalo?
Yes, it's fine.
Just
Thank you.
And my lord, we've just updated the list of exhibits.
Yeah.
We bound the updated list in the court file.
So you have already...
Yes, they now go up to Exhibit P.
Okay, fine. Yes. Exhibit P, all right. Yes, Mr. Khumalo, can we start then by reading those statements in their order of... The first one, I think, was made on the 27th of October, 2014.
Yes, my lord. May I start with the one which was made on the 27th of October, 2014?
Right.
It is Exhibit P1. It's 813.
Yeah, you are reading it for the benefit of all of us so that we can follow you.
Yes.
Not particularly for Ms.
It is a statement by Zandi Khumalo, state under oath in English.
Right.
Paragraph 1. I'm a female of 23 years old with ID number 910106 0595086, residing at number 13511 Kutwanong Street, Mzamo, extension 11, Fosloras.
Right.
Tel number 07467666669.
Okay.
Employed as a professional dancer at KK Entertainment and Top Crew.
Right.
Okay. Paragraph 2 of the statement. On 2014-10-26 at about plus minus 1600 hours 30, I, open bracket, Zandi, the close bracket, Mtogo, Kelly, Senzo, left Soweto to Mtogo's place at Sprayed to change his clothes. Paragraph 3. After Mtogo changed his clothes, we then drove to pick up Tumelo at off-ramp of N3 at Spreads View as he was visiting from Durban. Paragraph 4. We all four of us picked up Tumelo and drove to my mother's house. But before we went to my mother's house, we first bought some drinks at Kwembu's Tavern. And after we were finished, we went straight home. Paragraph 5. On arrival at home, my mother dished the food and we all ate. After finishing eating, we relaxed and watched soccer. I stayed further. While we were watching soccer, my boyfriend Longwe SMS'd me saying he is outside. I went and fetched him so that he can join us. And we were now in the house, being myself, being my mother, Kelly, Senzo, Mtogo, Tumelo, Longwe, and myself, Zandi. Paragraph 6. While we were watching soccer, Senzo and Kelly walked to Spaza shop to buy mad lemon and soup. After a few minutes, they came back. Paragraph 7. As we were watching soccer, Tumelo went and smoked outside the house, and he was joined by Mtogo, Senzo, and Kelly. They stood outside and chatted. Paragraph 8. My mother went to them and told them to come inside so that they can say goodbye properly. And everybody came inside the house. Paragraph 9. We all sat down and started chatting, making jokes. At that moment, it was around 2000 hours at night when suddenly two unknown African males walked inside the house from the kitchen door. I further state paragraph 10. One in front, having a gun on his hand. He was average in height with dreadlocks, dark in complexion, thin in body, wearing a brown jacket and beige in color, and was having small dots on his head. He had big eyes, but I can be able to identify him if I see him again. Paragraph 11. The second suspect was behind the first one. He closed the door. He was a little bit taller than the other. He was a little bit light in complexion, and I can be able to identify him if I see him again. Paragraph 12. The first suspect pulled the hammer of the firearm and said in isiZulu, "Kipani imali, kipani amafoni nemali," which means bring the cell phone and money, whilst he was pointing the firearm at us. Paragraph 13. Longwe jumped towards the first suspect and pushed him away and ran outside the house. Kelly ran to the bedroom next to the kitchen, and the second suspect followed her, and she closed the door, and the second suspect tried to open the door. I further state, paragraph 14, myself, open bracket, Zandi, close bracket, Senzo Mtogo, Tumelo, and my mother went to the first suspect that was carrying the firearm. We then pushed him towards the kitchen door, and Senzo was in front, and Mtogo and Tumelo behind. Senzo and I was at the back. The second suspect came to the kitchen, and Kelly came out of the bedroom and joined us at the kitchen. Paragraph 15. Senzo was fighting to the gun with the suspect, and I took one of Tumelo's crutches and hit the second suspect. Paragraph 16. During that moment, the first gunshot went out and hit the kitchen door, and the other shot went out and hit the floor. I then ran to the bathroom, and Tumelo went to my mother's bedroom. Paragraph 17. When I was inside the toilet, the third shot went off, but it was not as loud as other two first shots. After some few seconds, I opened the door and saw Senzo kneeling between the sofa and the TV stand, and he was falling backwards. I could also see the first suspect fighting with my mother, and the suspect punched my mother on the stomach and stole the Samsung S4 cell phone with telephone number 072-938-2498. The suspect then ran away. Paragraph 18. Kelly was screaming, saying Senzo is bleeding. Come help me. I then ran to look for help. I then saw Kaya, our neighbor. I also went to look for help at Ntabiseng's house. Paragraph 19. I came back to the yard. As I was coming, I then saw Mtogo, Kaya, Tumelo, and my mother carrying Senzo to the X6 BMW. I also helped them to put Senzo in the motor vehicle. Paragraph 20. We then drove to Butsalong Hospital, and Kelly was driving. On arrival at the hospital, I went to look for help, and the nurses helped us. Paragraph 21. After plus minus 10 minutes, they informed us that Senzo has passed away. Paragraph 22. We then went to my mother's house. I stayed further that paragraph 23. I know and understand the contents of this statement. I have no objection of taking the prescribed oath. I consider the prescribed oath as binding on my conscience.
Sorry, it's true, Colonel. I was listening to you. You understand English? Hello?
Yes.
You don't need interpretation of your own statement, in other words.
Done.
Everyone, say this cut.
Sure.
Thanks.